Welcome to Incredible Tea. You're with your hostess, Cocoa Puffs. This is a new channel, so make sure you share, subscribe, and like my video.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about P Valley Season 2, Episode 6 called Savage. So the episode starts off by showing Diamond and Redbone being very intimate. And you guys, Diamond for some reason can't seem to get Keyshawn out of his head. So as he is sexing Big Bone, Keyshawn is the only person that he can actually think of. Now, Big Bone understands the vibe, so she tells him, hey, it must be some chick you was trying to save at the club or something like that, but I need you to be focused on me or whatever your situation is. You feel me? At the same time, she does recognize the ring that Diamond cast that evil spirit into. You guys, if you know what I'm talking about, that was when he removed that spirit from Mercedes when she had that epic fall on the pole. Now, in the second scene, it shows Lil Murda pulling up on Teak. And guess what, you guys? He gifts Big Teak with a brand new car. So Teak is very emotional and, he's very appreciative of the gift. And he just honestly can't believe it. But he definitely does not waste any time by hitting a few donuts in that parking lot. The next scene is with Uncle Clifford and Big L, and basically they're talking about how everybody is trying to make ends meet. And as you can see, the girls are out here trying to promote their own thing, and they did not get permission from Uncle Clifford for them to be out here trying to get this coin. As well as Big L cut off the water on Haley because he was like, look, I need my check. I haven't gotten paid yet. And as of right now, Uncle Clifford is very hesitant. He doesn't know what's going on because the equipment that they need to pass the inspection is $5K. On top of the fact them having to pay $11,000 for the last fine that they received for not being in compliance at the Pink. So then it cuts to the next scene where Keyshawn calls Little Murder and she tells him that Rome knew about his secret intimate relationship that he had with Big Teak. So, on top of that, she also tells Little Murder that Rome tried to R-word her. So at this point, Little Murder doesn't care, but he is definitely concerned about what could happen with his career. Okay, then the next scene shows Mercedes going over to her sister's house, and when she gets over there, she is very displeased because not only is her sister drunk, but she's also finding out that everything in her refrigerator is spoiled, and I mean it's basically empty already, and she finds a ton of empty alcoholic beverages, you know what I'm saying, in the bottles. So she's just right now, she does not know what to think. And she also tells her sister, like, hey, the last time you talked to my daughter, you told her she was a mistake. And she tells her sister that she loves her, that she can get her some help. But her sister is very paranoid and she feels like Mercedes is only just trying to trick her out of getting her own daughter back, which is so weird, you guys. It just sucks. Okay, then it shows Lil Murda and Big Teak in a restaurant, and this waitress is really flirting hard with Big Teak, and Lil Murda gets jealous and tells the girl that she needs to go to the back to get some water because she's just acting a little too thirsty, okay? And this is where Little Murda tells Big Teak that this is their first date, and Big Teak is actually very happy and excited about it, and he goes to confide in Little Murda by telling him that he did not think that this date would actually ever happen. So you guys, as soon as Derek leaves, Keyshawn tries to plan her great escape. So she basically grabs her kids, crying and all. She only has a little bag. She tries to rush out to the car, and as you can see, she has been beating pretty badly. But when she tries to start her car, it will not turn over. And she is sad to find out that he took the battery out of the car. So the car will not start because it has no source of power. So this made Keyshawn has to go back in the house with her kids. Now, Lil Murda and Teak pull up at the gas station and they hear Lil Murda's song on the radio. And so they are super geeked, and you guys, they start turning up at the actual gas station. Then the same guy that propositioned Roulette to prostitute herself is talking to her now, and he's basically trying to get her to hook him up with Whisper. So he basically wants to have an encounter with her, and he convinces Roulette to use her mouthpiece. So on the next scene, Coach, which is Mercedes' sugar daddy, is basically telling Mercedes that he's happy that she came to give his wife and him the Mercedes experience, and Mercedes is happy to get that coin. Now Farrah, which is the wife, is definitely making passes at Mercedes, but Mercedes is telling Farrah to chill. She doesn't want Coach to know that they had their own separate thing going on. So in the next scene, Andre is at his mayoral campaign, and he has a lot of support, and he's talking about what he wants to do for Chucalissa. Now Haley crashed the event because she was not invited, and she shows up being a total distraction for Andre. And then Corbin sees this, and he basically shoos her off and tells her she needs to leave. Then it cuts to the Mercedes experience, and Farrah and Coach are enjoying themselves until Coach realizes that, hey, these girls are having a little bit too much fun. So he actually steps away, and he sees that Mercedes got the biggest orgasm that he could never give her. So he gets pissed, and he's like, wait a minute, what is going on? Like, you guys have been messing around. And then so they're looking at him like, boy, stop being childish. And then Farrah tells him, hey, you didn't know I like girls? You so busy satisfying yourself, you didn't even know what your own wife wanted. So Coach is so upset that he tells Mercedes he's not going to pay her for her services, and she is forced to leave. So in the next scene, Duffy runs into Roulette, and he basically tells Roulette that he is feeling her, but Roulette has to bust his bubble and say, look, I am a prostitute, okay? And guess what? Duffy does not care. He says, you know what? I'm a hoe too, so let's be together. Poor Keyshawn, you guys. So she's been locked in the house all day, and so she's preparing for Derek to walk in through the door, and she is fed up, you guys. Like, she has her gun pointed, and she's like, I'm ready to blow his brains out because she can't take it anymore. But when she hears him come to the door, she panics, and then so she hides the gun, and so she's sitting there, and he's acting like he cares about her, and she is just being tormented at this point. Then it cuts to the scene where it shows Teak going to his old childhood home, and while he goes there, Lil Murda gets a phone call from Wody, and Wody basically tells Lil Murda, hey, you need to cut off Teak, you know what I'm saying? We need to go on tour, and he's just a little bit too turned up for us, and I don't want him to jeopardize what you have going on. Now, in the process of talking, he basically let it slip out that he know that Rome died from an OD, and so now Lil Murda's looking at him like, hey, fool, how did you know that? So, Lil Murda already knows what time it is. Now, meanwhile, Big Teak is inside of his old home, and he's having flashbacks of himself being an abused child while he was still living there. And he actually confides in Lil Murda and tells him that his mom actually killed his brothers and sisters, and she was abusing him as well. At this point, Lil Murda is totally shocked, and he tells Big Teak, you don't even have to worry about this anymore because we're not coming back here ever. Meanwhile, Haley is still hanging out because she didn't let Corbin kick her totally off the property. And so she runs into the head honcho, Miss Georgia. Now, Miss Georgia is very wealthy, very prominent, and known in that region, okay? So basically, she is the one that really wants to get the casino there in Chucalissa, okay? And at this point, she tells Andre, you know what? I really don't care about what you have going on. I really don't care about supporting you. I just don't want anybody standing in the way of my casino. So she decides to build an alliance with Haley. And so this makes Haley feel a little bit more empowered because now she knows she can negotiate a better deal because she's speaking to the woman who is directly going to be able to cut a deal with her. Now, of course, the boys are upset because they feel like Haley is overstepping her boundaries, but they just don't understand. Haley is trying to get this coin, and she does not have time to be dealing with these men who act like they want to finesse her and play these games, period. Meanwhile, Uncle Clifford is at home taking care of his TT, and she has been running a fever. She's been coughing. Her sugar is normal, so he's trying to figure out what's wrong with her, and then it dawns on him. He calls Toya to see how she's doing, and Toya is coughing on the phone uncontrollably, and Uncle Clifford was like, girl, I knew there wasn't no allergies. You have sit up here and have infected my TT. Now, Andre makes it home, and to his surprise, Haley has broken in and she is in there hanging out like a whole creep, and it catches him off guard. He hurries up and gets off the phone with Corbin, who was talking ish about her. And basically, Haley is working her magic and she's trying to seduce Andre as usual. And Andre basically tells her, "Look, you are being too messy and I don't have time for all this." But of course, Haley flips the situation, and then the next thing you know, they're having sex again, as usual. So it cuts to the next scene where Lil Murda and Teak are chilling in the car, and Teak is basically breaking down again and just telling Lil Murda like how he has so many demons that he just can't fight. And he's very suicidal. He pulls out a gun on his own self, and Lil Murda is steady trying to convince him to please don't do it. Just calm down. We going on tour tomorrow. We gonna have a new life, and he still pulls the trigger, you guys. And at this point, Lil Murda does not know what to do. He goes to Uncle Clifford's home, and he basically just breaks down from there because he has just suffered a traumatic experience. And I feel like Teak was so selfish because it's like you were going through all of that mental and emotional issues. Why would you want to pass that along to your friend? God. Anyways. Now, Mercedes is at home and she's basically pondering over all the BS that went down while she was over Coach's and Farrah's crib. So she's just like really deep in thought. But guess who comes to her door? It's her daughter. Terica is at the door and she's crying hysterically, and Mercedes is very concerned and doesn't know what's going on. So this is when Terica breaks down and basically tells her mother that she is pregnant. Yeah, she pulled out the pregnancy test and it is showing positive. So at this point, Mercedes is feeling some type of way because now she knows her daughter has just repeated her mistake. So again, this is a brand new channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share my video. I do appreciate you for stopping here. This is Incredible Tea, and your host is Cocoa Puffs.